Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to an incredible, transformational day for the UMass Chan Medical School. Our program will begin shortly. We would ask all of you that are out there in the lobby, please come in, come closer. There are still some seats available. We want everyone to share in this very joyous and incredible afternoon. Thank you very much for coming.
Good afternoon. What a nice crowd. My name is Marty Meehan. I'm the president of the University of Massachusetts, and I have to tell you, it's been a pretty good week for UMass. And as all of you know, it's been an unbelievable day for the University of Massachusetts Medical School. Chancellor Collins made an announcement of a $175 million gift from the Morningside Foundation for the medical school over the next 5 years. And this gift is unrestricted. And what does it mean when a gift is unrestricted? It means that the donor has confidence in you, in what all of you do day in and day out, the students, the faculty, the deans, the outstanding leadership, Terry Flott's leadership, the deans, and also Chancellor Collins. This is one of the largest gifts ever given to any American public medical school. And it's going to allow UMass Medical to continue to recruit renowned faculty, conduct breakthrough research, and this research, as all of you know, can change the course of the history of disease. So this is a great day for the medical school, and it's a great day for UMass. It is a great day for the UMass brand. And I want to tell you something, when the Chan family invests, and they don't necessarily, Gerald would probably say, we don't give gifts, we make investments. And they only invest in excellence. They invest in the best. They invest in institutions that are literally going to transform people's lives, and that's what you do day in and day out at this medical school. And I thank you for the job you do. I'm delighted to be able to be in a position to be president of a system that has a medical school that's so wonderful. I want to thank Chancellor Collins for his incredible work. He's a great leader of this place. And I mentioned Terry and the deans and all of you, but you have a great leader. There isn't one day that he doesn't interact with either the Board of Trustees or the President's office where he isn't advocating for this medical school. And not just advocating we need this or we need that. He'll let you know what's happening in medical schools across the country and across the world, how they're getting the best faculty, how they're getting up in terms of their research. And by the way, congratulations, over $400 million this year in research. That is just fabulous. So I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be in all of your company. Also, I want to acknowledge another person. And any of you that have been to any of the fundraising events, have been over to Brenham House or been around this university when there's outreach going out to potential recruits or potential donors, Mary Ellen Collins is very, very important, not just to Michael, but she's important to this institution. It's interesting to me because when you have to go to meet with a potential donor or somebody who can make a difference for this medical school, you have to get on a plane and travel halfway across the world, and it's a 20-hour flight or a 22-hour flight. That's not glamorous, it's not sexy, it's hard work. And I got to tell you, Mary Ellen's been incredible, and I've watched her over the time that Michael has been at this medical school. And I just want to say on behalf of the Board of Trustees, on behalf of the university, thank you for all you do for this medical school. You make an enormous difference here, and I appreciate it. So with that, it is my honor to introduce your Chancellor, and I can tell you, working with him day in and day out, there are good days and bad days. Michael is passionate, and sometimes we work hard and go back and forth with the Board of Trustees and with others to get the right decision made, but I got to tell you something. I have confidence in everything that he does. He is a credit to the University of Massachusetts. He's a credit to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But I want each and every one of you to know he has the full support of the Board of Trustees, my full support, and you have a great Chancellor. Please welcome Chancellor Michael Collins.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's, you know, I've said this for years. It's the privilege of a lifetime to represent you around the world. And Mary Ellen and I thank you for the confidence that you place in us each and every day. It's easy for us to make the case for support for this great medical school because of the work that all of you do. And I'm grateful for that. I want to begin by celebrating this proud day with an incredible medical school community and by saying how wonderful it is to be here with you at UMass Chan Medical School. President Meehan, thank you very much for your leadership, support, and engagement. It's a real pleasure to work with you and your team as we roll out this once-in-a-lifetime achievement. And I want you to know that throughout the entire process of discussing, soliciting, and then securing this gift, the President has been so helpful. Marty, thank you very much for that support throughout. We're so fortunate to have the support and engagement of the Baker-Polito administration, and our legislative delegation has been terrific. We're so fortunate to welcome Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito and State Representative Hannah Kane to our campus this afternoon. Lieutenant Governor, thank you very much. This is your medical school. Lieutenant Governor will speak in a few moments. It's truly a privilege to welcome Beryl Chan and Dr. Gerald Chan to our campus this afternoon, to the UMass Chan Medical School campus. Welcome to you both. Many of Dr. Chan's colleagues from the Morningside Foundation are here, and I welcome many of you back to campus, and for those of you who are new to campus, welcome today. It's so nice to have all of you here. I have asked each of our three, I want to thank you for all you've done and contributed to this institution over our years together. And to all our esteemed colleagues, thank you very much for coming to help us celebrate this very momentous occasion. 50 years to go today, the first class of 16 medical students would have been in the early days of their second year of medical school. 50 years ago, the exact spot where we're gathered was a windswept pasture along the shores of Lake Quinsigamond. 50 years ago, as this fledgling medical school opened its doors to 16 intrepid medical students, few could have imagined what our medical school would become. But I promise you, if our founders could see us, they would stand in awe. As we come together today as a community of more than 5,000 faculty and staff, 1,300 graduate students in 3 schools, I hope you share our pride in being part of the Commonwealth's first and only public medical school with a founding mission to provide affordable, high-quality medical education to state residents and to increase the number of primary care physicians practicing in underserved areas of our state. We remain true to that mission, as evidenced by our top 10 ranking nationally for primary care education. But we've evolved to do so much more. Our Nobel Prize-winning biomedical research enterprise attracts more than $400 million in funding annually. That ranks us 21st in the nation and number 2 in New England. second only to Yale. Think about that for a minute. For NIH research funding, thanks to you. We're stronger than ever. And yet now, for decades to come, the generosity of the Morningside Foundation and the Chan family will propel our institution to new heights and allow our university to compete with the most elite health sciences universities in the world. With deep appreciation, humility, and hope for the future, we come together today to commemorate and celebrate a transformational $175 million philanthropic investment from the Morningside Foundation of Newton, Massachusetts. The Morningside Foundation is the charitable arm of the Chan family's global investment firm, Morningside. The gift is unrestricted, as the President mentioned, which is rare. And as I said earlier today, like a dream come true for a university. The Foundation's generosity will more than double the medical school's current endowment. This donation is also one of the largest philanthropic donations that has ever been made to a public medical school in America. The confidence this historic gift conveys about our medical school is breathtaking. The gift is all about our future and all about changing lives for the better. As the current stewards of this treasured institution, we are committed to leveraging and deploying the proceeds from this new endowment to recruit and retain more world-renowned, innovative faculty, to offer financial support to highly qualified and diverse students, to conduct more breakthrough research aimed at changing the course of history of disease, and to broaden and expand our public service mission. We shall be guided by the knowledge that a strong and vibrant public medical school that educates doctors, nursing leaders, and scientists stands to benefit countless people, be they in Worcester or Boston or in the far corners of our world. As we embark upon our next 50 years of excellence, we'll do so with a new brand and a public profile, one that unites and links a foundation with a long history of transformational philanthropy, with a medical school recognized as a jewel in the crown of the UMass system. In recognition of the historic and transformational donation from the Morningside Foundation, UMass Medical School shall now be called the University of Massachusetts Chan Medical School, or UMass Chan Medical School. Here you're seeing the logo of our proud new name. Each of our 3 graduate schools will also be renamed. The School of Medicine will be renamed in honor of the patriarch of the Chan family, Mr. T.H. Chan. Henceforth, our largest school will be called the T.H. Chan School of Medicine. Our nursing school will pay tribute to the matriarch of the Chan family, Tan Ching Fen, who is 101. The nursing school will be renamed the Tan Ching Fen Graduate School of Nursing. And last but certainly not least, our graduate school will bear the name of the Chan Family's Investment Group and Charitable Foundation. Moving forward, the graduate school will be known as the Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. With this momentous gift, it is the Chan family's intention to forever honor the legacies of their beloved parents, Mr. and Mrs. T.H. Chan. It is certainly a pleasure, a privilege, and a great responsibility for all of us at this university and at the UMass Chan Medical School to build upon the Chan's legacy and demonstrate and uphold through our work the values that the family holds dear. Since meeting Dr. Chan back in November of 2015, I've had the privilege of visiting with him many times and getting to know his family and the team at the Morningside Foundation. I cannot properly convey the sincere and profound sense of gratitude we have for Beryl and Gerald Chan and the Chan family, who selflessly took the time to engage with and learn about our medical school. Just 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Chan's brother and Dr. Chan's brother's son on a Zoom. And in that Zoom, they informed me that the night before, they had met with their mother to tell them that our medical school would now bear her name. And there's quite a legacy about that kitchen table where Tan Ching Fen has spent time over the years. And I look forward, as soon as I can, to be able to enter Hong Kong to accept her invitation for dinner at that table. This investment in the future of our medical school will, without question, change lives for the better, forever. While this historic gift from the Morningside Foundation to UMass Chan Medical School will reshape our name and our future, we're clear-eyed about our role as stewards of this great institution to faithfully marshal and leverage the resources entrusted to us for the benefit of our institution and the broader communities for which it is our privilege to serve. So I will conclude by extending a heartfelt thank you to the Morningside Foundation for this transformational gift. And for the first time here on our campus, please allow me to assure you that it's the privilege of a lifetime to serve as Chancellor of the UMass Chan Medical School. Dr. Chan, with your family's profound generosity, we will chart new frontiers of teaching, research, and public service. I thank you for your generosity. I thank you for your commitment to us. Most importantly, I thank you for our friendship. It is indeed a privilege to introduce Dr. Gerald Chan of the Morningside Foundation. Dr. Chan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It gives me great pleasure to be here representing the Morningside Foundation to join in the celebration today. Travel restrictions from the pandemic have prevented my family members from being here and leaving me as a sole representative of the family. What I'd like to do is to offer a few remarks to give some color to this gift. By naming the school as UMass Chan Medical School, this institution is now inextricably linked to the Chan family. I want this linkage to be meaningful to you beyond a transaction by which the Morningside Foundation provided some financial support to the school. Too much of modern life has become merely transactional. Scares are the reflection in search of meaning. The persons this naming is to honor are Mr. and Mrs. T.X. Chan, the parents of my brothers and me. My father passed away 35 years ago at an age younger than mine now. He was diagnosed with transitional cell carcinoma of the bladder, had a botched surgery done by an overconfident surgeon, and died within 9 months from initial diagnosis. My mother, on the other hand, is 101 and still going. She keeps an active social calendar, eats out with friends and family regularly, and enjoys her food, especially dessert, which is a must-have as the conclusion to a proper meal. I'm fortunate that she passed on to me her mitochondrial genome. It would be wonderful if the mitochondria in my cells can keep making ATP for as long as hers. There are many things I can say about my parents, but I feel that mere facts and chronology are of limited import. Inasmuch as we all hated the study of history that was a mere recitation of dates and events, I would not want to tell you about my parents in such a format. History should be living, imagined and reimagined so as to be impactful on the present. The past gives us roots, not so much in the sense of connecting us to bygone times, but in anchoring us in values that are timeless. The life of my father gave form to the values he passed on to me. His life inspires me to live similarly, and his life ennobles mine. The gift to UMass today has its roots in a life of giving that my parents lived. I will give you one vignette of my late father. When the elevator repairman who had worked for him for some years fell ill and needed blood transfusion, my father gave that man his own blood. In those days in Hong Kong, blood banks were as yet underdeveloped. There would be a band of people standing outside the back door of the hospital waiting to sell blood. My father, who was by then a well-to-do man, could have paid any one of those men for their blood. Instead, he gave the elevator repairman his own blood. In that one act of giving, which cut through layers of socioeconomic strata, he affirmed the common humanity he had with the repairman. His giving taught me that financial giving is but a surrogate that affirms a common humanity. I would that this gift not be a mere conveyance of financial resources, but a continuation of the humanity that my father lived by. Since this gift is to a medical school, I will provide a further sketch of my father by sharing a bit of his medical history. From my aunt, I learned that my father was a rambunctious boy in his childhood. He had a good mind and was especially good with numbers, but he was not a good student. It would be years later when my son was diagnosed with ADHD, and my younger brother pointed out to me that I had all the hallmarks of ADHD, that I realized my father, in all likelihood, suffered from ADHD. But in those old days, a kid with ADHD was simply a bad kid. Under the prevailing Chinese culture, any deviation from social norms was judged as errant and therefore bad. My dad was therefore thought to be not a good kid in school. He never went to university. I don't even know if he finished high school. He never talked about his childhood, and I never thought to ask. By the time I wanted to know more, he was no longer around. My father overcame his genetic predisposition by hard work and perseverance, by being entrepreneurial and by taking risk to seize opportunities. He came of age in a tumultuous period of world history, buffeted by perilous developments in world affairs and beset by his own doubts about his ability to succeed in life. I was too young to know his trials when I was growing up. Decades later, I read some of his letters to my aunt that gave me a glimpse into his struggles. One thing I do know is how determined he was to succeed. Eventually, he did succeed as a businessman. He did so with sheer grit all along, never compromising his exacting integrity, nor losing the warmth of his humanity. Now, before I am found guilty of indulging in filial hagiography about my father, let me turn now to say a few words about my mother. When she graduated from secondary school, she could have gone on to study medicine. Instead, she chose to study nursing. In her own words, who would care for those sick patients? It was therefore with compassion and a spirit of service to others that she chose a career in nursing. She was trained in a British hospital in northern China and worked as a registered nurse during my childhood. She worked in the chest clinic in Hong Kong at a time when tuberculosis was rampant. She also worked as a surgical nurse where her skills were highly regarded. It is therefore most fitting that a school of nursing should bear her name. The COVID pandemic today has shown us in startling clarity how critical nurses are at the front line of healthcare delivery. The traditional role of nurses only providing supportive care has given way to a model where nurses and nurse practitioners bear a large load in the healthcare system. This is all the more so as the prevalent disease burden in the world shifts from acute to chronic diseases. It is my hope that the nursing school, hereafter the Tan Cheng Fan Graduate School of Nursing, would grow in scale and train many more who will play leadership roles in the future of healthcare. As to Morningside, the name that will hereafter be attached to the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, it is the name used by the investment arm of the Chan family for many years. Many of its investments in recent years have been in biotechnology, which is at the convergence of science, medicine, and business. For centuries, medicine progressed by observations. This was true even as late as the time of William Osler, who is widely regarded as a seminal figure in modern medicine. Today, medicine has evolved to be firmly grounded in science. In other words, science is now the engine for progress in medicine. Biotechnology, in turn, is the business of turning science into medicine. That journey from a laboratory discovery to an approved therapeutic, from bench to bedside, it's tightly regulated and highly risky. But without a commitment to discovery science and skillful prosecution of translational science, progress in medicine will stall. Biomedical science today is an expensive enterprise. It is the price tag for progress. If the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences is to continue its track record of doing top-notch science, as evidenced by a homegrown Nobel laureate, a breakthrough prize, and much of the foundational work that underpinned the first gene therapy approved by the FDA, it must have the resources to recruit and support the most talented scientists. The competition in the world today is a competition for talent. Some call this competition an arms race. If that were the case, we simply need more arms to win the race. It is sapient of the founders of the UMass Medical School that it should consist of a school of science, a medical school, and a school of nursing. The three schools exist separately, but also cross-fertilize each other. This is a comprehensive training ground that develops talents for the healthcare of today and the healthcare of tomorrow. I wish that this gift will serve as a spotlight on the UMass Chan Medical School. The world needs to look beyond Route 128 to see what a great educational and research institution has been built on the shores of Lake Quinsigamon. When I finally did so after many Boston-bound years, I was stunned. I promptly found outstanding intellectual properties with which Morningside started 2 biotech companies. Now, any school will ultimately be defined by its graduates. The kinds of graduates a school turns out have a lot to do with the kinds of people it takes in. In getting to know the School of Medicine, hereafter the T.H. Chan School of Medicine, I was particularly impressed by its admission practice, which attends to both quality and inclusion. Chancellor Collins has told me innumerable stories of UMass medical students who came from unsure beginnings and rose to become distinguished leaders in medicine. My father would be very pleased to have the family name associated with a school that opened doors for those from humble backgrounds to the study of medicine. In choosing to support UMass Medical School, the Morningside Foundation also wants to recognize the importance of public higher education. Blessed with many outstanding private universities, it is all too easy for us in Massachusetts to lose sight that it is the state universities that bear the bulk of the burden of educating the young people of this country. The prominence of our private universities should not obfuscate the importance of the public universities. These two play overlapping but also complementary roles in preparing the talents needed for a healthy, functioning, and culturally rich society. The Morrow Act of 1862, an act of Congress which created the land-grant universities, of which UMass is one of 2 in this state, laid the foundation for the rise of the United States to be a world power in the 20th century. Similarly, the GI Bill contributed immeasurably to the post-World War II prosperity this country enjoyed. Both attest to the enormous return to society from the public sector investing in public higher education. One group for whom public higher education is especially important is the new immigrants. The census data published 2 weeks ago show that immigrants are the fastest growing demographic in Massachusetts. This fact is germane as my parents were also transplanted immigrants in their younger days. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts began with the Pilgrims coming as immigrants. As then and now, the immigrant story is a story of people taking risk in order to create a better life for their families. It is not surprising that people who dare to be uprooted from their homeland eventually become a source of new energy for their adopted country. Whether the new immigrants are themselves educated or not, they want their children to be educated. I dare say this is the one universal aspiration of immigrants and a strong reason why upward social mobility is still evident among immigrant groups in this country today. Quality public education is the best way to harness the energy brought to our country by new immigrants. I therefore call on the leaders of the Commonwealth to redouble the state support for all the campuses of the University of Massachusetts. The gift that we are celebrating today is not meant to replace state support, but to augment it in order that UMass Medical School can reach even greater heights. It will soon be half a century since I first moved to Massachusetts. It was here that I found life-changing education and insanely abundant opportunities to flourish in my work. With gratitude to the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, with loving thoughts for my parents, and with tribute to you all who are working every day to make the UMass Chan Medical School a very special place, I'm here today to celebrate this gift with you. I consider it an honor that my family's name will be associated with this distinguished public institution of learning, research, and patient care. Thank you very much.
Dr. Chan, thank you very much for those very inspiring words. We're now going to hear from our Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito. I want to thank you for your steadfast, ongoing support and for your presence here today. As many of you in this room and participating remotely have the good fortune to know, we're blessed with the best School of Medicine deans in all of America. Provost Flott, Dean Flott, physician and leader, will follow Lieutenant Governor Polito. Then we shall hear from the Dean of the Tan Ching Fen Graduate School of Nursing, who will be followed by the Dean of the Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for being here today.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such an honor to be here with each and every one of you, following it's a bookend moment, given that there was an announcement earlier in the day in Boston, but I believe this is the best part of the book holding, if you will, to be here on the campus with all of you. Let me just start by saying thank you to President Meehan for your leadership. You indeed have had a great week, more of these weeks in your future, and I hope that this glorious day wipes out all of those challenging moments with Chancellor Collins. In my view, I think that's the case. I do want to say to Chancellor Collins and to Mary Ellen, it's beautiful to be with you today. When we were talking about this announcement a few days ago, you talked about the several goals that you've placed before you for this institution, and almost talked about it as sort of, I'm almost done. And I corrected you by saying you have a few more things to add to your list, and it's just getting better. You have an endowment with an incredible investment to put to good use. And I know that you feel the weight on your shoulders and the responsibility that comes with that to steward these dollars as the Chan family has envisioned and beautifully outlined today. More so, I want to just sort of a theme that I took from the speakers so far is the making it personal. We have all lived through this past year and a half of a very challenging time where we haven't been as personal as we would like to be. And this coming together in person today and the sharing of your stories, of your parents, and the early passing of your father, and the longevity of your mother's life, and the team that you put together through Morningside, I can only say that you found the right home here. You are connected in such a beautiful and personal way to everything that this institution represents. I'd like to acknowledge the deans who you'll hear from, Deans Flott and Vitello and Lane. You just put your heads down and worked so hard, and through you to your team members. Today's announcement and this glorious gift is an acknowledgement of your efforts and all of the people, past and present, who have been a part of this amazing institution. And so while you have a leader and a chancellor and a president and deans, it's all the people that you rely on every single day that are recognized by the dollars investing in UMass Chan Medical School. And I want to congratulate all of you for this outstanding achievement. You deserve it. I just like to, on a personal theme, talk about how personal this is to me. I am a native of Central Massachusetts. I was born at Memorial Hospital, which is now a part of this institution. My children were born at UMass Memorial. My grandfather received his heart surgery here. My mother received her cancer treatment here. My whole family is cared for through the UMass system of care. I live on the other side of Lake Quinsigamond and see the glorious sign every single day and pass over this bridge and acknowledge not only the beautiful buildings that continue to erect here, but the people who come to this place to deliver quality care, to make people healthier and better. And I just can't say how personal this is for me to be part of something so special where my own experience has been a direct beneficiary of what is offered here. Every single one of you is a star. You are amazing individuals, and there is no institution that can be beyond you. You are tops. You are tops in your league, and today is a day where you are recognized not only here in this community and in this Commonwealth and in this country, but people around the world are recognizing your achievement. And to me, that is beautiful. I also want to acknowledge that this is an institution that has not shied away from accepting challenges. For Governor Baker and I over the past now 7 years, I've witnessed this institution lean in and lead when there is a need to take something on. You don't have to look too far back to know that the opioid epidemic clearly required a different approach and a different way of thinking. It was this institution, this medical school, that led the nation in changing your curriculum to include pain management and opioid therapy, and to train not only the current medical students, but medical students forever in this institution to rethink how to treat people with addiction, but also to prevent it from even taking hold. I also want to acknowledge the building here to service our veterans in Central and Western Massachusetts. Up until now, our veterans in this part of our state and all the way to our western border have had to travel to Boston to get their care. And you put your minds to making sure that there is a community outpatient facility right here on your campus. And then, of course, most recently in this pandemic, it was through you that we were able to set up the first field hospital outside of Boston, staffed with your nurses, your graduate students, to make sure the sickest of patients affected by COVID-19 could get the care that they needed when our hospital emergency rooms and beds were over capacity. You not only did it once, you did it twice. And it's just several examples, and there will be many more in your future, where you take things on because you can. You are capable, you are committed, and you're caring. This mission, this public service mission, is unique to your school, and it's clearly one of the reasons that you attracted the Chan family and Morningside's investment here to see this come to today. I also want to recognize that it took an individual, a very special individual, to look beyond the obvious and to, as the governor said this morning, kind of peek around the corner. And when you peeked around the corner, you weren't afraid. You discovered something really special. This is a public medical school. It is not in Boston, and it has a special mission. And you knew with your experience and your history and your family's history that this was the right place for you to invest your dollars. And invest the dollars in a team of people who will clearly honor your vision and what you have for a mission for this institution, for medicine and research, for many, many, many years to come. I also want to just leave you with one word, and that is validation. I am someone who grew up in the central part of the state, and for a long time we have felt that even though we are the second largest city in New England, we haven't felt the recognition that we so deserve here in this part of our Commonwealth. This extraordinary and generous gift is a validation for what we here have always known about this institution, that it is a top-ranked, first-class academic institution sitting in a city in a part of our state that has incredible talent, incredible commitment, and incredible capacity to care and make a difference, not only for each other, and not only for people across this Commonwealth, for the region of the country we live in this country as a whole, but even more so now with the validation that comes with this generous gift that people around the world will even further take notice of the work that you get up and do every single day. Congratulations, and thank you for sharing our pride in UMass Medical.
So thank you. Thank you again, and thanks to the Chancellor for your tremendous leadership. And just to say a very brief word, I'm going to say to the Chan family and to the Morningside Foundation to please also accept my enormous gratitude and thanks. The scope of this gift is stunning, really, almost incomprehensible in its transformational power. And as the Chancellor has said, as the President said, the gift is totally unrestricted. But in accepting this gift, we're also accepting a moral responsibility to the Morningside Foundation and to the Chan family. It is an obligation to work each and every day to bring honor to the name and to fulfill the promise to transform nursing, medicine, and the biomedical sciences in ways that advance the health and well-being of the diverse peoples of the Commonwealth and the world. We, the leaders, faculty, students, and staff of the T.H. Chan School of Medicine, will strive tirelessly to uphold your confidence in us and to be the physicians and physician scientists that the people need us to be, what they need us to be, not what we want to be responsive and creative in crafting the vision for a healthier world for generations to come. We are very proud of our students and faculty. We sincerely hope that our future efforts as the T.H. Chan School will make you proud as well. Together, we will make a huge difference for all those whom we serve. Thank you. And now let me welcome to the podium my colleague, Dean Joan Vitello.
Good afternoon, all. I, Joan Vitello, am very proud and honored to be the current dean, the 5th dean, of this Graduate School of Nursing. We are deeply indebted to the Morningside Foundation and to the T.H. Chan family in naming our school after your beloved mother, Tan Ching Fen. This endowment is a vital investment in educating future nurse scientists, nurse practitioners, and nurse leaders who will continue to translate our nursing science into practice, whereby the true benefactors will be the patients and their loved ones in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and beyond. We intend to use this investment in attracting more diverse students and faculty, and in providing the necessary resources and infrastructure to ensure the ongoing success of these students and faculty. It is vital that our nurses and faculty reflect the population of the future, and that we employ evidence-based practice and leadership to address the health inequities that exist today. We are truly blessed that you have made this invaluable investment into the only nursing school affiliated with the School of Medicine in Massachusetts. A heartfelt thank you to the Chan family that will enable us to actualize this vision for the newly named Tang Chin Fen Graduate School of Nursing. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Morningside Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, I want to express my deep gratitude to Dr. Chan and the Morningside Foundation for your generous gift. Dr. Chan, your life's work has been pursuit of science, and through science, for better lives. You've also advocated for education that transforms lives and advances the mindsets and the skill sets that create innovative solutions to complex problems. Our mission in the Morningside Graduate School is to develop innovative and creative science leaders. We come from many places with diverse intellectual gifts, cultures, perspectives, and life experiences, and we are unified by our love of science. We are curious explorers of fundamental biology, compassionate translators of discovery into care, and socially conscious advocates for health equity and community health. We go on to impact science as faculty and university leaders, science and business leaders in industry, many here in the Commonwealth, entrepreneurs, and community leaders who advocate for science and for a better life. Our faculty, world-renowned as accomplished, impactful scientists, are partners in our shared mission of ensuring continued discovery and innovation by developing the leaders of the future. Dr. Chan, I am grateful for your confidence in our continued pursuit of excellence in education. Your gift will broaden our reach, deepen and diversify our talent, and nurture our unique research training ecosystem to propel our graduates to even more distinction and impact. Thank you.
Well, that concludes our program this afternoon. I want to thank all of you for being here, particularly to Beryl and Gerald and for all your colleagues at the Morningside Foundation. Thank you so much for your support throughout this process of obtaining this gift. This gift will propel us into a more ambitious future, allowing us to realize our full potential. And for that, we will be eternally grateful. There is one other title that will change, and for all of you here, from now forward, I would like to be known as Chancellor. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.